It's time for us to go over our updated rankings for our top 20 quarterbacks of 2024. There's things that are changing all over the place. I want to be able to go over with that. We're going over a lot of analysis, a lot of projections, and we're changing some thoughts on different players, and I want to be able to go over that with you guys today. Coming in here at the #1 quarterback, we still have the same as it was last time. I'm talking Lamar Jackson. This is one of those quarterbacks that can easily get you 4,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing. He has that type of MVP type caliber ability. And man, I'm telling you guys, he's electric when he gets the football. And what did they do to help out Lamar Jackson? Well, they get one of the biggest, strongest running backs in the NFL in Derrick Henry to help him out. So it's one of those things, if you look at the situation at hand and you see what's going on and you say, okay, we're trying to play defense against Lamar Jackson. How are we going to stop this guy, right? There's a run, play, action, pass. Are they going to give it to Derrick Henry up the middle? Can we do a quarterback spy when we have to watch Derrick Henry as well? Is he going to roll out? Is he going to try to scramble? Is he just doing a quarterback run himself? Is he going to throw it deep? Is he going to throw it to the outside? We don't know. He is so electric. It makes him fill up the box score when we're talking about fantasy football. And he's somebody, if you have him on your team, it's kind of a two-edged sword, right? Just like a double-edged sword. When he takes off the run, half of you are going, oh my gosh, yes, this is fantasy points. And the other half is like, oh my God, please don't get hurt. So he's so electric to watch. He's a heart attack away from scoring and giving you a win in any given week. But I have to give him at #1. He could put up a boatload of points in a very small amount of time, and he's easily, for me, my #1 quarterback heading into 2024. Now let's talk about #2 here, and again, he's still #2, and again, still a shocker for a lot of people. I'm going to say Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, we saw him with 7 touchdowns in a very, very limited workload with both passing and running the football. Now, he already said in an interview, they were saying, are you going to change up the way that you play football? Maybe your running style? He says he's not changing up anything. He said it was pretty much a freak accident of what happened to him, why he was injured. He elected to have surgery just to make sure this wouldn't happen again. So knowing that he's not going to change up the way that he plays, for long as he just can absolutely just stay healthy, not try to run over a linebacker or anything like that. But he takes the ball and he puts it in the end zone, whether it's through the air or whether it's through the ground. He likes to call his own number. He's got a talented running back in Jonathan Taylor with him. He's got some studs at the wide receiver position, whether it's Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, or the new rookie from Texas, Adonai Mitchell. They've got things all over the place. And one of my best targets for Anthony Richardson, could be completely healthy this year, is Mr. Jelani Woods at the tight end position. So, like I said, they surrounded him with a lot of things. It's a year that we need to see it from Anthony Richardson. He cannot get hurt this year or he will be labeled as injury prone. And I think he does that. I think he steps above the rest. I had to put him at #2 because of the amount of fantasy points that we are projected to see for Anthony Richardson could be astronomical. And he wouldn't surprise me if he's the #1 quarterback on my board starting next year. So I'm gonna have to wait and see how it happens. #3 is the first change we have on our board, and I'm gonna go over with Josh Allen. Guys, Josh Allen now leaps over into the #3 spot. He leaped up 1 spot here for me. And the more and more I look at this guy, the more safe floor that he has. I had to put him here at #3. His rushing ability alone puts him way up there, like I said, with a safe floor. And I'm starting to like some of his options, right? I think the #1 wide receiver for this offense is clearly going to be Curtis Samuel. I think the PPR guy, he's going to come to show. He is going to show. And I think that there's some other options that can happen. I do like a little bit of Khalil Shakir. I like the rookie out of Florida State, Keon Coleman. There's some options here, right? I think they're going to get it done. I think he's already built a connection with his tight end, Dalton Kincaid. You should see a lot of those connections next year. Between Dalton Kincaid and Curtis Samuel, those are going to be the main targets in my eyes for this Buffalo offense. If we're getting down into the red zone, that's when you can start seeing a little bit more Keon Coleman. But I think overall, Josh Allen's going to consistently be able to give you fantasy numbers to make him a top quarterback. I know on many people's boards, Josh Allen's probably the #1 quarterback. For me, I just like the 2 bigger Russian upside type of guys a little bit more than I do for Josh Allen. Not saying that he doesn't have rushing upside. It's just that he lost a lot of his pieces around him, which just kind of like, I don't know. How is it going to affect Josh Allen? Do we see how Josh Allen was as far as a passing quarterback before Stephon Diggs even got there for Josh Allen? So we'll have to see if there's a little bit of regression, but I still have him here at #3. Coming at #4, we got another quarterback that moved up 1 spot, and I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes. I'm really starting to like Patrick Mahomes for fantasy. I think the biggest issue that I have with Patrick Mahomes is the Chiefs going to save Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce for the NFL playoffs, not necessarily the fantasy football playoffs? Are they going to be a little more easier in handing the ball off to Isaiah Pacheco a little bit more? We don't know. But I just think with them kind of retooling the wide receiver position, we not knowing what's happening with Rashee Rice, they ended up drafting Xavier Worthy, the fastest running back in the NFL draft out of the University of Texas. They got Hollywood Brown over there as well. So they're kind of retooling this offense, giving him some weapons to be able to throw the football, almost a la like they used to have with the Tyreek Hill down there. So I just think that maybe there's one of two ways that this could go, and we're going to have to see. And the more and more I'm looking at it, the more and more I'm actually liking what Patrick Mahomes can do for a football team still during the regular season. We all know what he can do in the playoffs, and even though he may be getting older, he's getting up there, he's rocking and rolling, he's still, quote unquote, a younger version of a quarterback. He's not like an Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. So I think that they might just let him go out there. They're trying to go for the three-peat in the championship, right? They're trying to win these Super Bowls. I think, obviously, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce is a big part of that. And I think he can give you a lot of fantasy points. He's got the weapons there to produce at a high clip. Can't wait to see what I see here. Coming at number 5, it's going to be a quarterback that actually dropped a couple spots for me. That's going to be Jalen Hurts, right? So there's a couple reasons for this, right? Number 1, I think Jason Kelce is a bigger loss for Jalen Hurts than what a lot of people are making it out to be. I think the tush push was more Jason Kelce than it was Jalen Hurts. All Hurts does was just fall forward. It's the offensive line that's coordinated enough to make that big push. On the flip side, Saquon Barkley, are they really going to pay a running back, a high caliber running back, a good amount of money to just not do anything on the 2 or 3 yard line? No. Is the tush push still viable at the 1? Yes, probably. But I think Saquon Barkley is going to take a lot of these goal line carries away from Jalen Hurts, because the last thing Jalen wants is to have that conflict he had with A.J. Brown to have it also with Saquon Barkley, right? He doesn't need everybody on his team yelling at him because they're not getting any touches and they're not producing the way that they should be producing based on the contract that they're getting. So I just think that with all that together, I think you're going to see regression out of Jalen Hurts. I still have him as a top 5 quarterback. 100%. I still think he's a good quarterback. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm just thinking you're not going to get the same numbers as you got last year. There will be regression in him. He's going to put up a high amount of fantasy points just based on the rushing ability alone and the weapons that he has. He's got A.J. Brown. He's got Devonta Smith. He's got Saquon Barkley. He's got Dallas Goedert. He's got a lot of weapons out there, right? So he's going to be able to score some points. I just have to have a couple people ahead of him. I have Jalen Hurts just falling back a little bit in my rankings, just based on everything they did in the offseason and what happened. So that's why Jalen Hurts is at number 5 for me. Coming here at number 6, we have a quarterback that's staying here at the same ranking as last time, and that's going to be CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is one of those quarterbacks that you can see they're starting to really load up these weapons, whether they're grabbing Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs over in the offense to pair up there with Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz. They're giving them a lot of weapons to be successful. We saw what CJ Stroud was able to do. He's able to, have multiple and sustain multiple wide receivers of fantasy relevance. And I think that's going to happen yet again. He's just got so many weapons out there. I think I like CJ Stroud more than I do like individual of those wide receivers, just because CJ Stroud's just going to be able to sling the ball all over the field, and multiple of these guys are going to be able to get open, and that's what you want to see in fantasy football. I think that overall, if you have CJ Stroud on your team, you're going to want at least one of these guys, one of his weapons on your team to help, balance that out a little bit. You're going to look at a lot of fantasy points from CJ Stroud, even the offense. If this offense steps up even one more step than what they did last season, oh my goodness, you guys can probably see some fireworks, and I'm really ready to see that. Easily CJ Stroud here at number 6 for me. Number 7, we're going to go over here. Joe Burrow, right? Joe Burrow, he belongs a lot higher on this list. He has the talent to be a lot higher on this list, but he just had a down season. And I know he's like, okay, this is the season we come back into relevance. If as long as he can stay healthy, as long as Jamar Chase can stay healthy, they get a little bit better of an offensive line. They got Zach Moss in there, a little itty bitty younger version of like a Joe Mixon in there. T. Higgins contract situation, what's going on with that? But they added a Jermaine Burton in there as well. Joe Burrow can put up the points, guys. He can put up plenty and plenty of fantasy points. Don't forget about this guy. He's slipping in a lot of the drafts that we're doing right now. We're doing a lot of best ball stuff. and we start seeing Joe Burrow kind of slipping where he shouldn't be, right? We should be taking this guy. And that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase combo is absolutely gold if you're drafting right now in off-season drafts. So Joe Burrow overall, they have the offense to get the job done. They have a defense good enough to keep the offense on the field. So I think that you're going to see an uptick in Joe Burrow this season, easily at number 7 for me. I love Joe Burrow this year. If you get him on your team, I think you'll be happy that you got him. Moving right along here at number 8, we're going to go over with Dak Prescott. This is one of those quarterbacks that he can put up a 400-yard game like it's no tomorrow. He's got probably the best, in my opinion, wide receiver in the NFL on his team in CeeDee Lamb, and they produce at a very, very high level. As they're recording this video, we're hoping that CeeDee Lamb gets a new contract done so that all is well. That's what I'm assuming gets done anyway. But I mean, you look at it. I mean, you got the Brandon Cooks over there. You've got Jalen Tolbert, who could be stepping in that wide receiver 3 role. Jake Ferguson at the tight end position. We don't really know what's going on at the running back position, right? Is it going to be Ezekiel Elliott? Is it going to be Rico Dowdle? We don't know. But as of right now, what I do know is because of the lack of the running game, they are going to throw the football a lot in 2024. And I think the straight benefactor of that is mainly Dak Prescott, because he is going to be able to sling the ball, who knows, 40 times a game. I mean, what else are they going to do? They're not a dominant football team to where you know they're going to have a lead all the time and they're just going to say, oh, let me just run the football. No, they're going to be throwing the football quite a bit. They want to make a statement, and they're tired of not doing anything in the playoffs. So I think they just want to make a big old statement in 2024. Go out there, running and gunning, and Dak Prescott's going to put up plenty and plenty of fantasy points for your team. If you somehow get lucky enough to land CeeDee Lamb, you have to grab Dak Prescott. That combo alone could save you some leagues and rock and roll, win you some money this year. So I'm curious to see what Dak Prescott can do. We're moving right along here to number 9. Let's go ahead and go over with a quarterback that I'm really starting to love, no pun intended, but that's Jordan Love. This guy doesn't have a bona fide number 1 wide receiver, right? I think if we have to do the ranking of his wide receivers, I think Jaden Reed is clearly number 1 for me. Then it's going to be Christian Watson, right? Then it's going to be maybe Wicks, right? And then maybe we go to Dubes, right? So a lot of people have the Romeo Dubes way up there now, like Tucker Doodoo, right? He's got 2 tight ends that pretty good tight ends, Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. I personally think Tucker Kraft is better than Luke Musgrave, but Musgrave gets the start, so we've got to rank him a little bit higher anyway. But that'll be in our tight end videos, but when we get there. But I think Jordan Love is showing that he can produce at a high fantasy football clip without having any type of highly touted, wide receivers on his team. Like I said, if I think his number 1 wide receiver right now is Jaden Reed, and you're putting up the numbers that you're putting up here, that's absolutely bonkers. Like I love looking at that, right? That's something that tells me if they get crazy and you add somebody like a T Higgins or something, like a true number 1 wide receiver to this team, Jordan Love's stats can go through the roof. But even as of 2024, I really like what he's still able to do. I think he's going to still be able to grow and mesh with his wide receivers. And I think that you're still going to get plenty good production out of Jordan Love, and you're not going to be disappointed that you do. Coming here at number 10, we're going over to a quarterback that got a new toy at the wide receiver position. We're talking about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray also has a little bit of a floor because of his rushing ability. He's got the talent. He should be coming here 100% healthy and strong, ready to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. He's got some weapons with him finally, right? So he's got some moxie around him where he can consistently give you decent fantasy football weekends, week in and week out, right? That's what you want to see from your quarterback. I think Kyler Murray is going to shock a lot of people this year. I think you can get him at such a good value. And if you can somehow tag him up with either McBride or Harrison on your fantasy teams, man, that could be some fireworks for you. And you don't have to spend a high draft capital on either one of these guys. I mean, you can get Trey McBride maybe into the 3rd, right? 4th round, something like that. Completely fine with that, and then end up with a Kyler Murray towards the middle of your draft, and boom, you've got your nice setup at your quarterback and combos. Though I like Kyler Murray, what he can do. I think that he can finish above into the top 10 for you if you give him or allow him to do so. And I think that's something that you really need to pay attention to. And if he falls into your draft, that's somebody you probably need to target. So let's move right along here at number 11. We're going over a quarterback that jumped up 3 spots for me since my rankings last time. That's going to be Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, I believe in my soul, his rushing ability alone is going to absolutely kill the game for you. I think Jaden Daniels alone can probably give you a lot of numbers. I mean, you're going to see rushing ability. You see all these other rushing quarterbacks, these Lamar Jacksons or Jalen Hurts or Josh Allens. These guys are on the top of my list for a reason. Jaden Daniels can keep on moving up there. If he keeps doing even remotely close to what he did in college, he's going to be electrifying. And for right now, this is the biggest discount. Right now, I'm stating it. This is the biggest discount you will ever get on Jaden Daniels in his career. I think he's going to launch up. He could easily be a top 5 to top 8 quarterback with no question from here on out after this season. This is going to be the best time to get him, right? And he's got some weapons, right? Terry McLaurin should be nice for him. Jahan Dotson should take a leap forward as well. They've got Zach Ertz at the tight end position with the rookie Benson out there as well. Guys, there's an opportunity here for Jaden Daniels to be completely special, and an opportunity also for you to build a stacked team at the wide receiver and running back position and grab Jaden Daniels at a later round and have a phenomenal league-winning type of year with Jaden Daniels as your starting quarterback. I'm excited to see what he produces and what he's able to do for fantasy football. Easily number 11 for me, and you never know. He might even work his way up higher once I start seeing a lot of these training camps and preseason games comes out, depending on how he's looking. He may even be a little bit higher for me, so be on the lookout for that too. So coming here at number 12, we're going over with Brock Purdy, a quarterback that has an offense all around him. And really right now, we're waiting to see what Brandon Ayuk does. As of recording of this video, he has not signed a contract to come back and play with the 49ers. So we don't know what's happening with that. Will he be traded? We don't know. We don't know what's happening with Brandon Ayuk, but as of right now, I'm just going to assume he is. That's why I have him ranked so high here. But other than Brandon Ayuk, what do we got? We got Deebo Samuel, which I believe that he is actually the true number 1 wide receiver on this list. They got the rookie Ricky Pearsall. They just signed Juwan Jennings. They got George Kittle. And oh yeah, don't forget Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. This offense is completely loaded. And what I like about having Brock Purdy as well is actually on the defensive side. The 49ers defense is so good. They do so many 3 and outs for the opposing teams that the offense of the 49ers is on the field all the time, which gives Brock Purdy plenty of time to put up fantasy points for you, which is what you want to see. So Brock Purdy, pretty much a safe player for you. Doesn't get you a ton of rushing yards or anything like that. But I think his floor is safe enough because of just the attempts and the opportunities that he has with you. His accuracy is very, very well, and he's got receivers that can make plays after the catch. I love to see it. So he is easily number 12 for me. We're going to move it right along here at number 13. I'm going to go with Tua Tagovailoa. Now, this guy has probably one of the most electric wide receivers in the NFL in Tyreek Hill, who could take a 60-yard bomb to the house in his sleep, right? But beyond Tyreek Hill, you do have your Jalen Waddle as well. They signed over there Odell Beckham as well. They got Malik Washington, the rookie over there. They even got Jonnu Smith, the new tight end over there. Will Tua finally start using his tight end? We don't know. He's got some electric running backs, whether it's Raheem Mostert, whether it's Devon Achane, whether it's Jalen Wright. They're just loaded on this offense. And I think Tua is the catalyst that makes it happen. I think with Tua, it's funny, you have all these electrical players around there, but Tua doesn't put up electrifying numbers himself at a consistent level. And most of that is probably because when the Miami Dolphins running game is on point, Tua doesn't have to throw the football. So you can easily get 200 yards receiving out of Tyreek Hill with 80 yards receiving from Jalen Waddle. You still end up with 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. You're still fine with that, right? You're okay with it. So Tua is a decent quarterback for me. Easy at number 13. I think that's a good ranking, good fair ranking for him as of right now. We'll see if that fluctuates throughout the offseason. So we're moving right along here, number 14. We're going to go over with Jared Goff. Jared Goff, a quarterback, again, he has an offense to be able to sustain you fantasy football wise. And with the emergence of Sam Laporta, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown over there. You got Jamison Williams on the other side. As long as he can stay healthy and out of trouble, he should be fine this year as well. I'm starting to like Khalif Raymond a little bit in this offense. So we'll have to see. They also have 2 running backs, a double-headed sword over there with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery as well. So, there's options here for Jared Goff. He's not going to blow you away with some of his numbers that he can produce, but he can give you a decent game, right? He's somebody that you can have as your starting quarterback on your roster, and you're okay with that. It's fine. Like I said, he's not going to be putting up crazy numbers like a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen, but he's going to be giving you good enough points to help you secure your wins, right? So as long as you're loaded up on your other positions, I think Jared Goff is great, and the schedule towards the end of the 2024 season, I'm really liking as well. So I just think that Jared Goff is a safe play for you. If you don't go early quarterback and you want a later round quarterback, Jared Goff is completely fine. I'd love to tag him up with either a Sam Laporta or Amon-Ra St. Brown, but easily here at number 14 for me. Coming here at number 15, new quarterback here for the Atlanta Falcons. We're talking about Kirk Cousins. He's got weapons, right? Weapons upon weapons upon weapons, whether it's Drake London, whether it's Darnell Mooney, whether it's Rondale Moore, whether it's Kyle Pitts, whether it's Bijan Robinson, whether it's Tyler Algier. They have a plethora of weapons around. I think the offense of the Falcons was always been talented here. They just never had a quarterback to be able to get them the football. Kirk Cousins, I know he's coming off an injury, but if he comes back in, we know what Kirk Cousins can do. He can sling the football. He's a 300-yard passer through and through, and given it into this type of offense, Arthur Smith is completely gone. We don't have to worry about that. I think he can deliver the football at a high clip, and I think that we're going to shock a lot of people. Kirk Cousins is one of those guys you can get very late into your drafts, but he can pay off huge dividends. He could be a top 10 quarterback this year if given the opportunity, because he has players that can do some things after the catch. He's got some athletic freaks on his team, and I think given some opportunity, you give a chance to Kirk Cousins. I think right now my favorite pairing that you can get right now with Kirk Cousins is Darnell Mooney. I think Drake London's going way too high to his drafts. Darnell Mooney is much easier to get, and I think Mooney, we have to remember, Darnell Mooney was just a number one wide receiver a few years ago for the Chicago Bears. He's a good route runner, and he can catch the football. He can make some plays. Now you give him a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, I think the sky could be the limit for these guys, and we could even say Darnell to the Mooney, right? I mean, that's a bad joke. It is what it is. Now we're going over our number 16 spot. This quarterback dropped 5 spots for me since the last time we talked, and that's going to be Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, he's plummeting just a little bit onto my rankings. I'm starting to really dive deep, and I think that the hype is just a little bit too high for a rookie quarterback. And on the outside looking in, you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, look at these plethora of wide receivers. You got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, and you've got Rome Odunze. Oh my gosh, it's just made in heaven. And it's one of those things that you have to really look at and identify. And I looked at my rankings at the wide receiver position. I'm like, how do I have Caleb Williams so high here when I'm not high on DJ Moore? I'm not high on Rome Odunze. I'm decently high on Keenan Allen, which I think Keenan Allen will be the number one wide receiver for this offense. But I can't have Caleb Williams up there. I think the problem with Caleb that he'll have in his rookie season that he's going to have to learn and develop from is the interceptions. I think he's going to throw a lot of those. He tries to fit a lot of tight spots in college football, which worked in college, but I don't think it's going to work in the pros. I think he's going to see himself throw a lot of interceptions, which could be a problem for Caleb Williams. So I just had to tone him back a little bit. I think he can be a great quarterback in this league. He just has to learn some things first, and I couldn't have him up there close to the top 10. I just don't think it's very fair. I think 16 is a very fair spot for Caleb Williams, and I'm completely happy with that. So let's move right along here at number 17. We're going over with Aaron Rodgers, and again, with this ranking, I'm assuming Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, I think he still has the arm talent, even close to 40 years old, to be able to deliver the football to some of these guys, right? Mike Williams, can he stay healthy? If he does, nice touchdown machine. And then Garrett Wilson should be able to deliver plenty of fantasy stuff for you to be able to produce at you at a very, very high clip. Even Tyler Conklin should be fine. They've got a lot of people like Xavier Gibson. They've got Corley out of college. I think he's going to be fine as well. There's a lot of players that I think that Aaron Rodgers can deliver this football to, and he's kind of like a game manager at this point. He's not going to take off and give you any rushing yards, no rushing ability, but he could throw the football. So I think that overall at number 17 is completely fair for Aaron Rodgers, and he could have some nice spike weeks for you as well. So just be on the lookout for Aaron Rodgers, especially tag him up if you have like a Garrett Wilson or Mike Williams. I think you'd be fine with that type of combo throughout the season. I think they'll still produce good fantasy numbers for you, just nothing that's going to wow you week in and week out, right? So all right, moving right along here at number 18, we're going over the poster boy here, doing Trevor Lawrence, right? So the guy who's supposed to be the new Andrew Luck of the NFL teams, and he's not producing what we thought that he was going to produce, right? I think he has the weapons around him. I love Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie out of LSU that they got. Should be the true number one wide receiver for Jacksonville, even though I know they got Christian Kirk there. Kirk is a much better route runner than Brian Thomas Jr. is. Brian Thomas is pretty much a 9 route. Let me just go throw the ball up. Let me catch a touchdown. And then Christian Kirk's more of your, hey, you need a first down. Let me do a little shimmy shake and do a quick slant. Here you get your first down, rock and roll. So I think it's going to be interesting for Trevor Lawrence. I think that he can produce those numbers for you. He's still got his running back there in Travis Etienne. We still got Evan Ingram at the tight end position. He's got a lot of weapons around him, and I think he can produce at a nice fantasy football clip for you. I just, he's just not what he lived up to be, right? Could he take a step this year? Absolutely. He got his new contract, a very highly paid quarterback now. Now he needs to show that he's worth that money. I think this is the year that he may do that. He could easily finish above number 18 as what I have him here. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. He just needs to show it to me first. So move right along here. Number 19 here. We're going over Justin Herbert, a guy that I like a lot, and I like the situation that the Chargers put him in. Yes, they got rid of Mike Williams, they got rid of Keenan Allen. They said, okay, all of you older or injury-prone players, just get up on out of here. Let's kind of retool this offense, see what's going on here. I think Quentin Johnson, if he can fix his drop mistakes, could be the true number 1 wide receiver here. They ended up getting Lad McConkey, which is a route running fool in my opinion. I love the way he runs his routes. They still got Joshua Palmer here as well. So we'll have to see, right? There's a plethora of tight ends here. Is it going to be Will Disley? Is it going to be Hayden Hurst? Is it going to be Darnell Parham? We don't know what's going to happen at the tight end position, nor do I care. I think Justin Herbert is going to have a lot of opportunities to throw football and a lot of opportunities to throw touchdowns. Let's just face it, the Chargers are not a very good team. They're going to be throwing the ball because they're going to be in a negative game script pretty much all game long. So I think Justin Herbert, given the opportunity, should be able to have plenty of fantasy points. He's clearly going to be better than he was last year. I have him down here at 19, which I think is completely fair as of right now. But again, Justin Herbert, another quarterback that would not surprise me if he finished in the top 10. An elite quarterback you can get at a huge discount this season. Go grab him, especially if you can pair him up with either a Lad McConkey or Quentin Johnston or something like that, right? So we're going to end this video here with number 20. It's going to be a new quarterback on our rankings list, and that's going to be Will Levis. He's really starting to grow on me. The more and more I'm watching his film, I'm seeing the delivery and the way he throws the football. It's just so pretty the way he does. And we've got newly acquired Calvin Ridley here. We've got DeAndre Hopkins. We've got Chigga Okonkwo. We've got Tyler Boyd, the new slot receiver. Therefore, there's some players here, right? They got 2 pass catching backs, whether it's Tony Pollard or Tajay Spears. I think they loaded Will Levis with plenty of opportunities to be a top fantasy quarterback, and I'm just liking what I'm seeing. Like I said, the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm kind of going through all of his film and just seeing how he's going through his progressions. We saw some flashes of excellent from Will Levis, and I'm liking what I see. Easily, I had to put him here at number 20 for me. But guys, that's my top 20 quarterbacks for 2024. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Definitely hit the subscribe button. Really helps out the channel. We're coming out with a lot of rankings. We're going to be updating this as the offseason goes through. That way you guys are best prepared for your fantasy football drafts. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.